Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motions. Order number 7, statements. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have a statement response to be done by Honorable Paul Kerokamboro, Chairperson, Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries.
Very well. Honorable Paul Kerokamboro, Chairperson, Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, the response is ready, but I would wish to note as follows, that the response has a recommendation, and I would wish to refer this response to the House Business Committee for it to consider the same as a motion. Because, Mr. Speaker, you know, when you have a recommendation, we need it to move as a motion, and it was a response. It was a statement.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The request to move the report as a motion to be adopted by the House Business. The request to move the report as a motion to be adopted by the House is granted, and I refer the same to the House Business Committee to schedule the motion. Clerk, next order.
Order number 8, motions and bills. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have a motion to be moved by Honorable Zachary Mwangi, the Chairperson, Committee on Finance, Economic Planning and ICT.
Honorable Zachary Mwangi, Chairperson, Committee on Finance, Economic Planning and ICT, and Member for Nyakeo. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the following motion that this House does adopt the report of the Committee on Finance, Economic Planning and ICT on the Nyandarua County Government, that is the receiver of revenue annual report and financial statements for the financial year 2022-2023 as a report of the House and the recommendations therein as the resolution of the House. Honorable Speaker, this is the 11th report of the Committee on Finance and Economic Planning and ICT. And Honorable Speaker, I take this opportunity to appreciate your office, the Office of the Clerk, for the logistical support accorded to the Committee on Finance, Economic Planning and ICT as we discharged our mandate during compilation of the report on the receiver of revenue, that is County Government of Nyandarua Revenue Statements for the year ended 30th day of June 2023. Honorable Speaker, I further express my gratitude to the members of the committee and of the Secretariat for the immense support and commitment portrayed during the consideration and compilation of this report. Honorable Speaker, it is my pleasant duty and privilege to present the report, that is this 11th report of the Committee on Finance, Economic Planning and ICT on the receiver of revenue, that is Nyandarua County Revenue Statements for the year ended 30th day of June 2023. Honorable Speaker, Regulation 61 of the PFMA Act 2015 intimates that the receiver of revenue designated by the County Executive Committee member under Section 157 of the Act shall be responsible for the collection of and accounting for such items of revenue as the County Executive may specify, and is domiciled under the Department of Finance, Economic Planning and ICT. At the county, the receiver of revenue is represented by the County Executive Committee member for Finance, Economic Planning and ICT, who is responsible for the general policy and strategic direction. Honorable Speaker, in promotion of efficiency, Regulation 62 prescribes that the receiver of revenue shall, in accordance with Section 158 of the PFMA, authorize a public officer or any other county government entities to be a collector of revenue for the county government for the correction of and accounting for such items of revenue as the receiver may specify. The county is charged with the responsibility of providing a variety of services to residents within its area of jurisdiction, which include the services that were provided by the defunct local authorities and the ones that has been transferred from the national government now to the devolved units. Honorable Speaker, the receiver of revenue collects and remits revenue to the county revenue fund, that is the CLF. Further, Honorable Speaker, the receiver of revenue, that is Nyandarua County Government, presents report on the revenue performance of the county for each financial period. Consequently, the statements for financial year ended 30th day of June 2023 was tabled in the House and committed to the Committee on Finance, Economic Planning and ICT for scrutiny and report to the House. Honorable Speaker, the committee mandate is as follows, as stipulated and our standing order number 200. I do not repeat on that. It is very explicit. On committee membership, Honorable Speaker, I'm the chairperson. Honorable Benson Kiari Joki is the vice chairperson. Honorable Peter Mwangi Maina, Honorable Joseph Kuriatu, Honorable Catherine Nyawira Mathenge, Honorable Juliana Mogure Mbabu, Honorable Patrick Mwede Kariuki, Honorable Elijah Mwangi Nyaga, and Honorable Ednard Wabogo Kingori forms the membership. And I cannot forget the immense contribution and support from our secretariat, led by our committee clerk, Ms. Nancy Mode. Honorable Speaker, the revenue statement for the county government of Nyandarua for the financial year ending the 30th day of June 2023 shows financial performance across various revenue streams and are essential to various stakeholders, county administration, regulatory authority, and the general public for both transparency and accountability in county revenue collection and financing as per the spirit of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Honorable Speaker, the county has instituted new measures to enhance revenue collection in pursuit of providing resources to the change agenda, that is the change manifesto, envisaged in the county, that generation, that is the County Integrated Development Plan, CIDP 3. These measures include: 1, enhanced revenue officer facilitation to undertake field visits and enforcement exercises, provisions of motorcycles and motor vehicles for field visits, worked towards enhancement of revenue collection and random field visit by the head office. Honorable Speaker, revenue automation has provided a framework for easy monitoring and evaluation of revenue collection across the county. The county pursues to have 100% automation of its revenue collection system in place by the end of this year. Honorable Speaker, the county had a target of 660 million, which was not met. The reporting period was characterized by transition of the county administration with the entry of new government. The receiver of revenue has delegated collection of revenue to revenue officers across the county, and coordination is done by sub-county revenue officer who reported to the director of revenue on a weekly basis. Honorable Speaker, having considered the CD report by the receiver of revenue on the revenue statement for the period ended the 30th day of June 2023, the committee has made the following findings and observations. 1, that the all-source revenue target for the year 2022-2023 was 660 million, with the actual revenue collected being 505,913,000 306 shillings, being the highest revenue collected since devolution. This represents 76.65% of the projected revenue, which is an increase by 32,851,495 shillings from the previous financial year. Number two, the county top revenue streams were JM Memorial Hospital, single business permits, produce sales royalties, NHIF fee, that is inclusive of Leader Mama, and liquor licenses. The table below shows the top 5 revenue streams with the projected revenue in comparison to performance for the financial year 2021-2022. Honorable Speaker, in financial year 2022-2023, the top 5 streams were tabulated as below. 1, we had JM Hospital. The revenue projected was 120 million, but the actual collection was 110,322,980 Kenya shillings. And the revenue for the year 2021-2022 was 98,653,158 Kenya shillings. So there was an increase in 2022-2023. Single business permit had a projection of 110 million. The year under review was 99, that is year 2023 was 99,837,882 Kenya shillings. And the previous year was 90,714,712 Kenya shillings, which was also an increase. At the produce sales, there was a projection of 58 million. The actual revenue collected was 50,122,887 Kenya shillings. In comparison with the year 2021-2022, that has a collection of 49,404,903 Kenya shillings. And the NHIF fee, that is inclusive of insurance, there was a projection of 30 million. The actual revenue collected was 50,088,984 shillings, and that was an increase. While 2021-2022, there was a collection of 49,046,404 Kenya shillings. Under liquor licensing, that is inspection and application, there was a projection of 60 million. The actual revenue collected in the financial year 2022-23 was 34,813,789 Kenya shillings, whereas in the year 2021-2022, there was a collection of 39,063,928, which was a decrease of about 5 million. Honorable Speaker, the NHIF fee stroke insurance revenue stream has surpassed the target set for financial year 2022-2023 with Kenya shillings 20 million. It has also recorded an increase from financial year 2021 to 2022. The county also recorded growth in top 5 revenue stream with the exemption of liquor licenses, which has shown downward trend. And in the financial year 2020-2021, the stream recorded revenue of Kenya shillings 204 million, which declined to Kenya shilling 39 million in financial year 2021-2022, and Kenya shillings 34 million in the year under review. Honorable Speaker, the land rates recorded an increase of 1,616,607 shillings and 75 cents. During the year, the county government gave waiver of interest to rats and prot rates. The slaughter fee, it dropped from Kenya shillings 1,1,1 124,350 Kenya shillings in financial year 2021-2022 to Kenya shillings 498,520 shillings, while meat inspection fee was 4,248,785 Kenya shillings from Kenya shillings 4,844,500 Kenya shillings. The county has new revenue stream, which are milk cess, water providers, that's a single business permit, and environmental impact assessment. Some revenue streams were characterized by decline, while others experienced growth, with the highest growth recorded by miscellaneous receipts of 3.3 million to 14 million. Miscellaneous receipts include insurance compensation, salary recovery, direct bank deposits, subsidized fertilizer, disposal of assets, and interest surrender. Honorable Speaker, the comparison of the set targets and the actual revenue collected in the last 5 financial years is indicated in the table below. Financial year 2018-2019, the target was 600 million. The actual revenue collected was 403,402,541 Kenya shillings, having a variance of 196,587,459 shillings. The year 2019-2020, the target was 630 million. The actual collection was 379,480,690 Kenya shillings. The variance was 250,518,370 Kenya shillings. Year 2020-2021, there was a target of 954 million. The actual revenue collected was 408,718,259 shillings, having or creating a variance of 545,281,741. The year 2021-2022, the target was 990 million. The actual revenue collected was 473,061,811 Kenya shillings, having a variance of 516,938,189 shillings. The year under review, 2022-2023, the target was 670,000. The actual revenue collected was 505,915,306 Kenya shillings, having a variance of 154,084,684 Kenya shillings. Honorable Speaker, from the table, the committee noted that a gradual increase has been noted with the receipts submitted by the receiver of revenue in the last 5 years, with an exemption of financial year 2021-2022, which is attributed to COVID-19 pandemics. Honorable Speaker, the receiver of revenue has not attained projected revenue, where setting of achievable targets is essential in implementing budget appropriations. The revenue-raising measures pronounced by the CCM Finance covers 2 financial years that have different revenue projections. Therefore, the effects of the pronouncements do not match the projections. The hospital fees, that is parking fees and miscellaneous receipts, performed beyond the set targets by Kenya shillings 8,860,882 Kenya shillings, 22,000 and 2,022,909 Kenya shillings respectively. Honorable Speaker, the reason for not realizing the targets among others were 1 or R1 says activities and disruptions that were characterized by electioneering period and transition of the new government. Number 2, large rates. The target was set with the exemption, with the expectation that the county would solve the land dispute cases preferent with properties with Orokarau municipality. And on property rates, target was informed on the rehabilitation of some of the properties. Exit from business has been a hurdle in realization of the target. The PFMA Act 2012, that is section 165, subsection 2B, requires the inclusion of a statement of arrears of revenue. Arrears in revenue is revenue earned and is yet to be received or collected by the receiver of revenue in the year under review. The revenue collected was Kenya shillings 505,913,306 Kenya shillings, and arrears of 548,508,160 Kenya shillings were recorded at the end of the year. Honorable Speaker, arrears received during the year under review amounted to Kenya shillings 39,606,983 shillings in rad rate and single business permits revenue streams due to government waiver of interest and enforcement of defaulters. However, there were additional arrears during the year of Kenya shillings 30,764,329 shillings in property rates, hospital fees and administration control fees, and charges due to enforcement and defaulters where assessment for recoverability is high. Honorable Speaker, the financial statement under review reports waivers and variations of fees or charges granted by the receiver of revenue during the year in accordance with the PFMA Act, that is 159, and 164 subsection 4, added by a concession given by His Excellency the Governor, amounting to Kenya shillings 39,989,623 Kenya shillings and 59 cents. Honorable Speaker, from the foregoing, the committee makes the following recommendations. And before the recommendations, Honorable Speaker, we have a number of annexures. That is right from chapter 3, that is on receiver of revenue, county government of Nyandarua, prepared in accordance with the cash basis of accounting methods under the International Public Sector Accounting Standards, IPSAS. It is well stipulated, Honorable Speaker, and I don't intend to go into details because the annexures are very clear, ranging from revenue streams, how they performed during the year under review and during the previous year. The comparative analysis in the last 4 years, it is well tabulated there. The target, the actual correction and variance in forms of percentage. We have the statement of receipts and disbursement for the year ended 30th day of June 2023 as stipulated down in that table. Going all through to page to page 24 on appendices, where we have a report of waivers and variations of fees or charges granted by the receiver of revenue during the year. We have the name of the person or organization benefiting from the waiver or the variation. We have year in which waiver or variation relates. We have the amount of waiver. We have the reason for the waiver and the role in terms of which the variation waiver was granted. The role is PFMA Act. A number of reasons, and in fact, is the main reason is the concession given by His Excellency the Governor. The percentage varies right from the very first person who was David Masharia Kebiro, going forward to from number 1 to number number 859 by somebody by the name Elijah Nganga Yeshuhu. And the total is stipulated as 39, the total waiver and the variations as 39,989,623 shillings and 59 cents. And the last appendix, Honorable Speaker, it is a progress on follow-up of prior year audit recommendations. It is well stipulated in that table, going through to page 69. And with that, Honorable Speaker, the committee recommends, one, that this House does adopt the committee's report on the receiver of revenue, statements for the financial year ended 30th day of June 2023, and the recommendations therein as the resolution of this House. Number 2, that the County Executive Committee member for Finance, Economic Planning and ICT considers reviewing the local revenue targets in the next supplementary budget for financial year 2023-2024 in preparation for the next budget cycle. And 3, that the County Executive Committee member for Finance, Economic Planning and ICT does submit a report on the measures taken to fill the gaps in every revenue stream and the status of revenue automation in the county within 60 days. And Honorable Speaker, with that, and since I will be having another time during my response, I wish to invite my Vice Chair to second as I beseech the House to support this motion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Jero. Honorable Benson, specially elected from Engineer. Proceed.
I second.
I now propose the question, which is that this House does adopt the report of the Committee on Finance, Economic Planning, and ICT on the Nyandarua County Government Receiver of Revenue Annual Report and Financial Statements for financial year 2022-2023 as a report of the House and the recommendations therein as the resolutions of the House. Honorable Isaac Wajiro, a member for Ajohi and Chair Budget and Appropriation. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Finance and Economic Planning and ICT Committee for their good presentation of a good report. I think it is one of the very serious reports that as an assembly we need to interrogate and think about the way forward. Honorable Speaker, yesterday when I presented the report of the Controller of Budget Review Report, Budget Implementation Review Report for 2021-2022, one of the issues that the Controller of Budget has raised constantly is about the issue of own source revenue. And I indicated that in this county we have that habit of over-projecting our own source revenue. And at the same time, Honorable Speaker, the reports that we get from other sources, that is the Commission of Revenue Allocation, says that we are underperforming in our own source revenue. Honorable Speaker, I feel the report is here, and this report should be used as a baseline on what we need to do going forward. We cannot keep doing the same thing the same way and expect different results. That's what the Englishman called insanity. When you keep doing the same things the same way, expecting different results. Honorable Speaker, we inherited the revenue administration arena of the whole of the revenue administration, people and all that, and all those things that goes with revenue collection from the defunct county councils. And I think we have suffered for the last 10 years because we have retained the same mentality of the defunct county. That is why we see we keep overburdening the same streams that pays. That is why you keep seeing that today we are discussing and saying JM is the #1 source of our own source revenue. That is that we are relying on hospitals and the sick. Those are just the low-lying fruits where we know that people will just pay because they are sick. We have not sat down as a county 10 years to sit down and ask ourselves as a county, where are we going? What is this information that CRA says that we can be able to collect up to 3 billion? Have we ever sat down and asked ourselves, what is these parameters or what do they look at? Where are the sources of the money when the Commission of Revenue Allocation says that we can collect 3 billion? Where is this money? We have never sat down. And Honorable Speaker, I think the greatest achievement we can do as a third assembly is to make sure that we are able to transit this county from what we are receiving now to another level where we can become a county that is able to collect sufficient money for development of our people or for service for our people. Honorable Speaker, the intent of devolution, and we borrowed heavily from the US kind of government where we have the states. You look at the federal system of government in the USA, you realize that the states are able to manage their budgets to the extent that even some states are able to donate, or even the federal government is borrowing from certain states to fund their budgets. Because the states are able to generate so much, they are able to provide services to their people in the state. They have so much reserve that the federal government borrow from the states. And this was the idea that was there when we brought the issue of devolution. When we wanted the county governments to grow, the counties to grow to the extent that they can be able to finance their activities, their services, their salary to an extent they can even at some point be loaning the national government for some of its activities. But the way we are doing today, we are only able to generate around 7% of our own expenditure, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think I want just to say 4 issues and I sit down, just to highlight. #1, it is high time we do the restructuring of the whole system of revenue administration in this county. We need to sit down, restructure. We have seen the motion, the bill that has come here that is forming the board. That is a good beginning. But then we need to be very careful not to bring a board that will take the mentality of the existing department today. We want an independent, autonomous board that will come up with very serious research work, will come with very serious recommendation, because we need to look at the whole avenue so that we can transit from 500 million to around 1.5 billion. We need to restructure everything. And we start by the board, we give it the autonomous, we give them the finances, and we allow them to go out there and bring issues. The way the KRA is operating at the national level, we need to give them targets. And people who are under contract, performance contract, if they don't perform, they go. Because you know, when you have government people, whether they perform or not, by the end of the day, they will receive salaries. But we have an independent body where we have a performance contract and there is appraisals. I know they will go to perform. We need to do the mapping. We sit down, we do the mapping of our revenue sources, our streams. Have we exhausted? We always now and then talk about business, single business permit, cess, hospital. Have we exhausted? We need to sit down seriously, map every source of revenue in this county. #3, after we have mapped, and when I am talking about mapping, today, if you go there to the peoples of revenue and ask them, how many shops do we have in Nyandarua? They cannot tell you. So ours is pickpock, whether we are going to go find a shop opened, they pay this year, they don't pay next year. But in this county, we should know how many hotels, how many M-Pesa shops, how many bars, how many hotels we should have. That is what I'm talking about mapping. Right now, if I go to the revenue, I should be able to ask the people of revenue in Wanjohi, how many hotels do we have? And I can get that information, pap, and we are able to know whether they have paid or whether they have not paid. How many M-Pesas do we have in Wanjohi? That is what I'm calling about mapping. But after mapping, then we ask ourselves, is there any other area where we can get tax that we have not mapped or we have not been charging? That is what we call diversification. We diversify other areas. Because there are people who are moving around here and they are supposed to be paying something, but they don't pay because even within our finance bill and within our finance act, those areas are not captured, so they don't pay. We diversify. And finally, enforcement. The greatest mistake we have done in this county is that we have put enforcement under the same people who collect. There are people who collect revenue and they are also supposed to have the enforcement officers to enforce. It does not work like that, Honorable Speaker. It is supposed to be an independent department. And if you go to other counties like Nairobi, you realize they ask us to come with the Finance Act and ask, you have a shop, have you paid? Without any relevance or any reference to the person who collects the tax. Because what is happening now, there is a collusion. It is that person who comes and tells you this one has not paid, the other one has paid. So there is always a collusion. The enforcement department should be very independent. It should be very independent. They come on their own. They ask you, according to this act, we are saying you are supposed to have paid this. Have you paid? And they take the action according to the act, according to the penalties that are provided, and even what the law says. So we need to put a very serious enforcement department. We separate those laws, and then we minimize the issue of handling cash. They always talk about automation. But you walk around in Nyandarua, people pay cash. You go to Wanjohi on Thursday, which is a market day, and I want to ask a simple question. Who knows how much is paid in every Thursday? We have placed a person there who walks around, collects the money. He has some kind of a receipt providing people. He can decide if there are 500 traders in Wanjohi on Thursday, I am going to give around 200 through this machine, and then the other 300 somebody can give me 20, 50, 30, and I put it in my pocket. So we really need to follow up on these issues, because I also believe the 505 were able to collect. There are so many leakages that we might have been able to collect 700 or 800. If you go to access point, people are still giving cash. If you go at our quarters, people are still paying cash. If you go even at our hospitals, sometimes people are paying cash. So we really need to reduce where the human is in contact with cash, because we know it is very tempting. Thank you for this report, and I believe that the Finance Committee will go the next step, not only of giving us the receivers of revenue report, but also now to sit down with the relevant department and ask now, what are the serious measures now are you putting so that we can go to 900 that we estimate for this financial year. I support that report.
Thank you, Honorable Member, for such a rich debate. Honorable Kamwana, Member for Gadara and Chairperson Implementation. Proceed.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for granting me this chance this morning. Mr. Speaker, in the first place, I want to support the Chair for Budget and Implementation Committee of this Assembly for speaking in length about the elephant in the room in this county. And when we hear that we have a report from the Commissioner of Revenue Allocation of the national government saying that we can be able to correct money to get our own money here within our boundaries as a county in excess of 3 billion is data that needs to be looked into critically. Mr. Speaker, you can remember in this house I've said several times that we need even to go somewhere and sit down and listen from the minds of the elected members of the county assembly. And they can be able to tell us where there are gaps in their areas and where they think that we can be able to correct more money. Not so because the government of the county cannot be able to do so, but it is long overdue where we have been even thinking that we need to look for a consultant to do this work on behalf of the county if it goes to that extent. Honorable Speaker, let me remind this House that the data we have from the Kenya Bureau of Statistics show that we are positioned number 4 in the whole country with what we call the per capita income of our citizens. What it means is that the money that is circulating in this county is a lot. But when you look at the other features or the other characteristics for people who live in this county that can show these people have this money, is where now the problem lies. Because when you meet people from this county and you compare them from other counties and especially from the Mount Kenya region, I don't know where the disparity comes about, because we see that we do not have physical, for example, infrastructure to show that these people get a lot of money. But can you imagine, this is the county that over 75% of its land is arable. And we have here all round of rainfall, but still we cannot be able to make our heads meet. I want to confirm and to support that there is a problem. We need now to take the bull by its horn. 10 years later, it's not something that is good, and such that we can be able to correct a lot of money. I am one person who is willing to have that day so that I can be able to tell where we are losing money. Let me tell you, Honorable Speaker, that in my ward, every morning, there are gallons and gallons, liters and liters of milk that are going to other markets. And these people are not able to, they are not paying anything. I want to say that the amount that we are asking our farmers to pay for the milk sales, I may say even it is a lot of money. We may even ask them to pay 20 cents per liter of milk, and still we are going to egg a lot of money. So it is a big problem. Like, for example, before I joined this Honorable House, Honorable Speaker, I was a businessman. And every time the revenue people could come to give out what they call the, what do we call that document that they issue before they give the licenses? One can remind me. The invoice. Myself, I could not show the other certificate. That is the business permit for the previous year. And they knew, for one reason, I told them to give me the records that I was able to pay the previous years. And they could not do so. So they, every year they knew, when you go to Kamwana Builder's workshop, you must go with the data, whether he had paid the previous year, whether he had paid the rates for the land, because I could not give them that document. Because every time I would tell them to improve, and they could tell me that now when we come next year, we'll be having the data to show that you have been able to pay the license for this duration and the amounts, and also those other information. It has taken too long even to develop our own system. And we can even do that in the Excel sheet of the Microsoft. And we'll be able to have that data before maybe we go to the expensive application of information whereby, for example, it may use a lot of money. I can remember, Honorable Speaker, one of our members, Honorable Benson, was even willing to volunteer to do some of these things, maybe for a small fee, though he was telling me he can be able to do that for free to help this county be able to improve on its management system. Honorable Speaker, I want to support, I want to echo the work that is being done by the Chairman for Finance, because he has done a lot of work, and I know he has a lot of vigor, and he is very much willing to help this county, because this is where he comes from. So how I support that we go forward and improve on our own revenues, because we are not able to get a lot of money to do our activities in this county, for only one reason, that we are not able to manage our revenue management in a proper manner. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Paul Geshe Wabaire, member for Kipipiri and chairperson Health Services. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy that consistently the language here is all about how we can make our county realize rural development. And with this report, it is serving as a further as an eye-opener, because this is about now facts, what is happening there. And I'm happy that Committee on Finance is bringing this report. Mr. Speaker, you see there is this issue of revenue automation. Revenue automation, it has been there, and it seems as if it is a cash cow. In this report, you find that you are told they are targeting to make it 100% effective and efficient. You see, with now the that government, since the inception of devolution, we must realize this: 100% automation, because this is where we have the loophole. Year in, year out, the revenue automation has been receiving budget to enhance revenue automation. This is the high time now. We need now to be honest with ourselves. And we know now, and this even should go to the chair budget, that when now they bring the budget now on the issue of revenue automation, let them now quote that particular now amount that is sufficient, that is enough now to make sure that we are automated. From the report, you've heard that the main source of revenue here, the county top revenue stream, that is page, it is not numbered, it's okay. There is that is chapter 2. There is that number 2, the county top revenue stream were JM Memorial Hospital, single business permit, produce sales royalty, NHIF fee, Ridamama, Adirico licenses, and it is shown there below. So the other time I said, it is the patient, the sick people of Nyandarua who are supporting in own source revenue. And if that is the case, we are asking now the government of the day to ensure that we recruit the health staff who have retired, who have through natural attrition. This is now the high time now to ensure that we recruit those essential and very important staff, since this is the department that is getting this county revenue. And if that is where we are getting our revenue, it should be known that we need to enhance it. And how do you enhance it? it is through ensuring that the requisite human resource are there, so that we can able to generate even more money. When you go to the report number, the same chapter, they were amazed on how that is number 8. The hospital fees, parking fees, and the miscellaneous receipt performed beyond the set target by 80 million and 2 million respectively. So, if now the parking fee is something to go by, what are we doing to ensure that they can be able to maintain and sustain that trade? When you just go to our parking there at the town, you find that if somebody does not pay the parking fees, nothing will happen to him or her. Now, because they don't have the requisite equipment, they should go further, and when they are bringing they should go further and tell us we've procured even the equipment to enhance that this is, we can get some money here. We have enhanced that particular department. I don't know whether it is of reinforcement or the reinforcement, and also as well as revenue collectors. They be enhanced such that they can be able to maintain and sustain the same. Lastly, in my contribution, His Excellency the Governor should call himself to a meeting. And number 12, it is you see the reason as to why the target was not met. 12 from the report is telling us the financial statement and the review report waiver and valuation of fees or charges granted by receiver of revenue during the year in accordance with the PFM Act Section 159 and 164 by concession given by His Excellency the Governor amounting to 39 million. This tells you that he has caused a fall in our target through pronouncement of waiver. So if we want to really get money, it should stop doing this waiver, because the effect is on revenue. You cannot waiver and expect that you get money. And actually, in another report, the issue of waiver, was there prudent use of resources? Another question will arise. Was there prudent use of resources? There was cost incurred. We lost. So the 39 million here is something that we lost, and we've not also accounted for what the government spent during publicizing the waiver. So it is the high time now our government wakes up, because the spirit of devolution was now independence in terms of reading your people. And I think the trade that we have taken as an assembly is a good one. It's a good move, whereby we are having these reports. We interrogate them, we continue interrogating them. Let's speak out. And in the long run, I guess I know that we are going to achieve something. So, congratulations to the committee led by the finance chair, Honorable Zachary Jero, for this report, and with your recommendation or that this House does adopt the committee report on the receiver of revenue, revenue statement for financial year, and the recommendation therein as the resolution of this House, I support that one, so that we can be able to move. Out of this, we can get other motions, like now I will be getting this one for the waiver. I will be interested to get from, because already the report is telling us there was no need of waiver. So I will pick it from there and now try to get a business out of there, because we want progressiveness. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Peter Veji Kiriga, Member for RIE and Chairperson, Special Funds Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was almost to force myself to cough so that you face me, because I thought I was forgotten. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the chairman for the finance and the entire committees. Mr. Speaker, this one might be the best committee that has performed in the right way and the right direction. If you go to the tabulation, Mr. Speaker, you get in the first tabulation, like for the JM, there is an increment of about 11 million above the other financial years, especially the last one, that is 2021-2022. Mr. Speaker, what we are just remaining to do, it's just to create efficiency of the revenue collection, since they have targeted almost all the department. So, Mr. Speaker, we just need efficiency of the tax collection. In fact, the way my colleague, honorable member from Kipipili, Honorable Geshe, has commented about the automation. Most of the money lost in the pockets of just a few people, Mr. Speaker. But when we facilitate this process, Mr. Speaker, there will be an addition of revenue collection. Mr. Speaker, I just want to remind the chair to the finance. In the Department of Forestry, those people that own seed beds, they go untaxed, and they earn very highly. I would like just to request him to see to that department and look whether the department is taxable, so that we can also add something from that. Mr. Speaker, we have those old markets that are not operating, like e.g. like Loriodo. If instead of those markets staying idle, they would rather privatize, so that the government can also get some revenue from them. If you go to the collection of bus parks fees, it is not done up to date. One, I want to challenge our government that the completion of recarpeting the whole town should be done, because once you start, the enforcers try to collect the revenue, where there is no, those parts that are not recarpeted, you can hardly charge, you hardly charge nothing. You cannot charge anybody there. So, within the completion of recarpeting the whole town, the law and order and the enforcement can be done very easily. And by the collection of the same fees, it's another advantage to our county. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Mr. Speaker, I support and I call the mover.
Honorable Zachary Mwagijero, Chairperson, Committee on Finance, Economic Planning and ICT. Proceed and respond.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank my fellow colleagues for their comments, concerns, and compliments towards supporting this report. And Honorable Speaker, I want to respond on 4 issues. One, the issue that was raised by the chairperson budget. Yes, it is evident, Honorable Speaker, that if we go with the current mindset in the Revenue Department, we do not achieve it. And so I do agree with him that we must re-engineer or restructure the infrastructure behind the Revenue Department so that we are in a position to cross the leakages and the policy gaps. Honorable Speaker, the issue to do with automation. And I remember the last meeting we were having a conversation. With the Revenue Department. Automation is not getting those gadgets, those Terra machines. Automations entails coming up with a system, Honorable Speaker, so that each and every stream is automated. We have a regulation for each and every revenue stream. We have a system in place. We do not work with assumptions. We have a data. And by so doing, Honorable Speaker, we will be able to seal the leakages. Honorable Speaker, the issue to do with enforcement. You cannot enforce within because of yesterday the issue to do with collusion, Honorable Speaker. And we have recommended as a department that the enforcement department should be a separate entity so that at least we are able. Yes, you are supposed to pay this and this. You have not paid. What happens? As Honorable Gesha was indicating. That is why we are saying we must have a policy in place so that now when you do not comply with the finance bill or the Finance Act, Honorable Speaker, at least we have a reprieve, Honorable Speaker. The issue that was raised by Honorable Kamwana. Yes, it is that the most fundamental issue is to try to cross the policy gaps. One, it is through automation so that we can go cashless. Honorable Speaker, and I don't want to say this in the floor of this House. You may get even some of the revenue clerks do not even have offices, and they are handling cash. Do we have any justification that that particular revenue clerk collected maybe this sum, and he or she was at liberty to deposit or to forward whatever he or she felt that that should be forwarded? A good example is our markets. Are we enforcing? Are we having another entity that is enforcing what is being collected on that particular market day? Honorable Speaker, we may end up getting government resources that are being serving individuals. And that is why we must wake up on that. Another issue is generating a system. Honorable Speaker, as we speak, we have procured a system that is taking a whooping 3.9% of the total revenue collected. Now you can imagine about 4% or 505 million. This is the high time as a county. We should budget to develop our own system. First of all, we will save money. And number two, we will be able to have up-to-date data, Honorable Speaker, And within a click of a button, we can be able to tell the scope and even be able to set the targets. Another fundamental issue, Honorable Speaker, is the valuation role. In fact, that should be the main revenue stream in this county. Not the issue to do with the health department, Honorable Speaker. Ranging from the issue to do with physical planning, the property rates, the RAD rates, Honorable Speaker. If we are having a valuation or in place, Honorable Speaker, this stream of property rates would be the leading stream, Honorable Speaker. So we are calling upon the Department of Lands and Housing, Housing and Physical Planning to come up with a valuation role. Honorable Speaker, during the last regime, where I was privileged to serve, we talked this issue of the county spatial plan. Yes, I do understand that the Food Agricultural Organization had called a forum, which was attended by the whole House, pertaining the issue to do with examining on the progress on the spatial plan. I think, Honorable Speaker, this should be fast-tracked so that at least we'll be able even to do the mapping. In fact, as we speak, the Revenue Department is working through assumptions. If you ask them, how many establishments in terms of kiosks do we have in Orokarau town? They can only tell those they have collected money maybe in the last financial year. But they do not have up-to-date data, Honorable Speaker, pertaining that because they have not been able to do a comprehensive mapping. And you cannot do a comprehensive mapping, Honorable Speaker, without a county spatial plan. So I'm calling upon even the RADS committee to make sure that they push the department as we do so as the finance committee for the spatial plan to be approved in the floor of this house so that we can keep the ball rolling. Honorable Speaker, the other issue is the issue to do with the new revenue streams. Remember, we had an issue with the water cess. There was some money that was supposed to come from that head. Honorable Deji indicated that we have another stream from now the 3 nurseries. What are we doing so that at least after supporting them, in return we are having some sort of revenue from them? That is another new stream, Honorable Speaker, that we should think about it. And Honorable Speaker, it's very unfortunate with the global economic crisis. It is even becoming so difficult, even for our people, even to have a meal on the table. And we are here busy trying to think about the very small revenue streams. We are here chasing mama bogas to pay during the market day. We are here chasing other small-scale vendors, whereby we have not been able, Honorable Speaker, to get money from the giant revenue streams, Honorable Speaker, like the rental income, Honorable Speaker. The issue to do with the physical planning, Honorable Speaker. I think this is the high time, Honorable Speaker. We should wake up and be in a position, as much as we want to tax our people, we be fair, we be kind to them, and be in a position to explore all those avenues that will not have a direct effect to the livelihoods, Honorable Speaker, of our people. Honorable Geshe indicated about there has been some sort of automation. Yes, the mindset behind automation was that they have those gadgets, maybe in some sort of streams. That is not automation. How can you say that you are 70% automated and you are dealing with the cash? Generating a system will go hand in hand with now the issue to do with automation, because now you will have the data and be able to generate systems on how then you do bill your people, right from billing up to payment, Honorable Speaker. The issue to do with addressing the issue of the human resource in our health department, I cannot agree more with the Mheshimiwa. That should be done. I know there is some sort of replacement that is going on, but over and above replacement, that department is understaffed. So we should be in a position to look on how the city department, Honorable Speaker, not for the purposes of getting revenue only, but equally for the purposes of making sure that lives of our people are safeguarded through having a viable hospitals, Honorable Speaker, and having clear systems on how we want our health department to operate. The issue to do with the concession of waiver. In fact, Honorable Speaker, going forward, it should not happen when we do not have a policy in place. It defeats logic, whereby you have waived that 9 million, but you have only been able to collect 1 million. That does not make sense. So I will be pushing from my end such that we have a policy in place, and I do encourage Mheshimiwa Geshe even to come up with a motion to compare the same to happen and to happen before now we go to the last quarter of our budget, because obviously that is where now the issue to do with waiver and variations comes in. As I wind up, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Teji indicated that if we are able to deal with the leakages, and I do agree with you, even from the periphery, you can tell that we do not collect the money we collect. It is more than that. But we have a number of leakages, and that is where, Honorable Speaker, we want to address the issue through the enforcement department, which we want it to be a separate entity, Honorable Speaker, and it be facilitated so that there will be no correlation with the revenue collectors. He raised another fundamental issue, Honorable Speaker. We have a number of government facilities that are lying idle with a very clear infrastructure in place, but they are not functional. He indicated how we can think about privatization, Honorable Speaker. Yes, we will look into the regulations behind it, Honorable members, and be in a position to advise further. Honorable Speaker, to end with, last week we approved the Revenue Administration Board in the floor of this House. I want to give it a trial. We have a policy in place. The board will be coming in handy if we will not be able to double our revenue, Honorable Speaker. With a revenue board in place, I think we will retreat as a House and be able to forge a way forward on how we proceed as a county, Honorable Speaker. Let us give it a trial. Let His Excellency move with speed and structure it as per the regulations, Honorable Speaker, and see maybe in the next financial year, with the review of the finance bill, that is under review, Honorable Speaker, we'll be in a position to see what we are able to do. Because obviously, even from the report that was presented in the floor of this House by the Budget Committee, that, Honorable Speaker, this is the high time, in the spirit of devolution, that the county must get to understand that they must operate and live within their means. and living within our means, Honorable Speaker. It's trying to use the scarce available resources to give our people services and be in a position to see how, in so doing, taxation, Honorable Speaker, and this is equally happening in our nation. A lot of taxation or direct taxation, does not always mean the growth of economy, Honorable Speaker. It is not. In economics, there is other methods and methodologies that can be applied. Yes, there will be some sort of taxation, but first of all, it should be some sort of budgeting to support the infrastructure that will be able, in return, to generate tax, Honorable Speaker, or to generate income. A good example is the valuation roll. As a county, we must invest on the valuation roll. Even if we invest like 60 to 100 million, and in return, Honorable Speaker, you get that we are not overburdening our people, but on the same out of that, we are able to build an infrastructure, Honorable Speaker, on how we will be getting double or triple of what we invested, Honorable Speaker. That is the kind of approach we should, Honorable Speaker, we should be getting into. And by so doing, I think, Honorable Speaker, we will be in a position to raise our own source revenue and be in a position to increase the programs and projects that our people have requested. And that is the only way, Honorable Speaker, the mandate and the privilege we have been given to serve, that is the only way it will be felt by our people. And Honorable Speaker, with that, I beg to move.
I now put the question that this House does adopt the report of the Committee on Finance, Economic Planning and ICT on the Nyandarua County Government Receiver of Revenue Annual Report and Financial Statements for the year 2022-2023 as a report of the House and the recommendations therein as the resolutions of the House. May those of the similar opinion say aye. Aye. May those of a contrary opinion say no. And the ayes have it. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the business of this sitting as appearing on the order paper has been exhausted.